Hey guys, this is Rainbows here with another exciting game. We have Az versus painuser on Lost Temple, and painuser is going to be Purple Terran at the 12 o'clock position, Az is going to be Blue Protoss at the 9 o'clock. And this is one of several games. Basically, after some fun shenanigans on Skype and or streams, what ended up happening was Az decided that he wanted to go around and show everybody that Protoss was the master race and beat pretty much everybody who chose to play him ever. And this is one of the many attempts of various people to defeat him. This is painuser against him, and painuser may or may not have ended the streak. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Painuser is coming in and just building a supply depot. It's not going to do anything fancy schmancy with Reapers. Az in the meantime has a pylon coming up. Supply depot coming up for painuser. I do believe I said pylon, and that is incorrect. Looks like we had a pause, so no cheese for either player. Az is scouting correctly on the first try, and painuser hopefully will figure that out and be able to scout vice versa and just be like, bro, based on that timing, I already know where you are. I can check out what you're doing. And again, hopefully we will see that in a minute. Az is liking to go with a little bit of a late gateway just because he knows that painuser is doing something really standard, and he doesn't really need to get out anything to defend. We can see that this gateway is going down finally on 14. Which is, again, a little bit late, and really cool, because he's going to be a little bit economically ahead. Especially because he's probably with chrono-boosting probes. Yeah. Let's wait for it. Yep, chrono-boosting probes. So he's gonna just be able to ride this to victory, essentially, is my prediction. Or maybe painuser will be a baller and defeat him. Who am I kidding? Az wins. Anyway, painuser is going to finish walling his ramp momentarily. That's not really doing any grass with this probe. Not really being that annoying. We can see him coming in and doing a little bit of damage, but painuser is just going to be able to easily outmaneuver this, and his SCV is luckily on the right side of that supply depot, so we won't see any fancy schmancy shenanigans going on. Gas going down at very normal times for both players. And nobody's gotten a second gas. Az grabbing a core, so he's not going to go for any 2-gate answer. And it does look like painuser is actually stealing Az's second gas, which is a little bit weird. Because he's Terran, and Az could just kind of shut that down whenever he wanted. And he does see that Az has a couple of gateways. There's one cell that's going to be able to take down that refinery really relatively quickly before Az isn't that much needed that second gas. painuser is just pumping Marines. No tech choices revealed yet. No second barracks down. Looks like he might actually be going for a relatively fast expansion. We'll see that in a minute, if that is indeed the case. But yeah, we do see a factory going down. So it looks like he's going for some sort of higher tech. He's not just going to sit around and spam Marines and Marauders like every other Terran in the world. painuser, in the meantime, has gotten his factory to about 98%. It's 8 HP from completion, and it's just sitting there, so you can cancel it at any time and get most of the value back. He's going to be at a little bit of mining time for that SCV, and he's also going to be at a little bit of money because you don't get everything back when you cancel. I believe you lose 25% of the building value, but refineries are like 75 minerals, and a quarter of that is some weird fraction that I don't care to calculate, so essentially he's done nothing because I can't do the math. And we actually have 2 gas up for painuser, and he's coming out the factory, so he's going for some sort of a mech build or some sort of a starport build, and we will again see that momentarily. A reactor coming out on this first bunker just so that painuser can spend all of his minerals, and he's got a couple of Marines, and he's going to probably be able to deal with this sentry stalker, just coming in for a little poke from Az. painuser is throwing down another barracks. Looks like he's not going to go pure mech, and a tech lab up in this factory, so we will probably be seeing either tanks or Thor soon. I don't see an armor coming up though, so tanks do look like the more likely possibility. He can't afford one, so I'm a little curious about what's going on. painuser is electing just to get out of bunker, just to make sure that everything's really super safe, which is an interesting decision. And we do see tanks coming out for painuser. Tank numero uno, Az in the meantime is just taking this as a signal that it's perfectly fine for him to expand, and that's just really a good decision by him, because painuser just has a couple of Marines and like a tank and siege mode coming up, but siege mode's not going to be enough for a while, and those 5 Marines are going to be no match for Az's forces. painuser's refinery is still in Az's main. Az is just electing not to even bother with that because he doesn't need to, frankly. And a robotics facility going down for Az as well as a forge, so he's probably going to get upgrades and then go for a push with a couple of immortals and a bunch of gateway units, which is a very, very solid choice, especially considering that painuser is going for tanks, and immortals are really, really good against tanks in general, unless you've got a bunch of EMP or a bunch of Marines and Marauders backing him. Painuser is electing to get a second command center, which is a good idea. It will enable him to be economically competitive with Az, who is expanding. Az is actually maynarding a bunch of probes over to his expansion as we speak, and an observer coming out first for Az. Az is not getting much use out of his warp gates, I don't think right now. We'll probably see him warping a whole bunch of units to his proxy pylon right here. I know, like staring at warp gates going, oh my god, he's not using them much, but I don't think I've seen him warping very many units. I would imagine that if he was producing full-time up to 2 gates, he would have a lot more stuff than he is now. Right now he's just got three stalkers. I keep saying sentries accidentally. Az is actually reinforcing his proxy pylon with a bunch of cannons, which is a really interesting decision. Painuser does have tanks, so he's going to be able to take this down fairly easily, but it does mean that he can't just push that pylon very easily. He does have to use tanks, he does have to siege, and he does have to play intelligently. But one of those cannons is going to be in siege range. Az does not have blink or anything fancy, so he's going to have a little bit of trouble dealing with that tank. As to that, finally dealing with this refinery, I do hope Painuser got cancelled for his sake. That first cannon for Az is down. Painuser may elect to just move up with his tanks right now. Looks like he is going to try to land that command center, but a couple of cannons are going to do a little bit of damage to that. Painuser noticing that right away and microing his buildings very, very well. And Az, of course, knows exactly what's going on because he does have observers. And Painuser's just creeping out with tanks, just slowly pushing out, and he's going to be able to take down those cannons and force back Az very, very easily. Az just has a couple of sentries. Stalkers. I keep getting that wrong. Az just has a couple of stalkers, and those stalkers are just going to melt tanks if they get out of position for an instant. So, very, very smart decision by Az to back off. Az has the economic advantage right now. Painuser is just grabbing his expansion. Az is out incoming him substantially, I can talk. And the first Colossus is coming up for Az. And that's going to be very, very effective against Painuser's infantry, and so ineffective against his tanks. I always feel like tanks just chew through Colossuses in like 2 seconds, just because tanks are like 70 damage a shot. Colossuses have like 350 health, so it's like 5 tank shots. So if he's got three tanks, that 2 shots a Colossus, a bunch of gateways coming down for Az. And I do not say Twilight Council. I would love to see Blink just against these tanks, just because it's so effective to just immediately get a point blank on him and just have one less tank that can shoot your stalkers, just because tanks again do so much damage a shot. It's like 70. They're not quite as good as in Brood War, but they're still incredibly amazing. Painuser does have his expansion established, and it has been orbital command. It was orbital commanded before it landed. That rhymes. So he is going to basically be rolling in the dough. He's making it rain with minerals and mules, because mules kind of fall down from the sky like rays. And Az is actually pushing out with a Colossus and a couple of Stalkers, just because he saw Painuser move down with a few Marines. He was just looking to snipe a few kills. Very, very nice play by Az with the Observer and the map control, and trying to snipe Marines and just being generally a baller. And second Colossus coming out. This is Chrono Boosted, and we do have Colossus range being Chrono Boosted as well. Bunch more Warp Gates were just thrown down for Az, and we can see him just morphing down a whole bunch of Zealots. I'd actually love to see a bunch of sentries from him, just to kind of mold these Marines into little fleshy donuts that the Colossus can rape with their thermal beams of doom. Az, again, just sitting that same observer from the very beginning of the game. Looks like he's only built one. Right over Painuser's base, and doing an amazing job spotting. The turret is not quite going to be able to see that observer, which is very unfortunate for Painuser, because Az has this perfect idea of what's going on, and some interesting Colossus harass going on. Looks like this Colossus is just going to move up, and a Viking is out for Painuser. We did see a starport go down a little bit earlier. I don't believe I commented on it, but that Colossus is going to get killed by tanks and Vikings. Nice play by Painuser. Nice reaction to what Az was doing. Again, I'm not really sure. Like, Colossus are freaking awesome. Az is expanding the 6 o'clock main. That expansion is like mostly done. So he's going to pull back ahead in Dichotomy. He feels really safe. I mean, if Painuser pushed out, he would know immediately because of this observer, and he would have plenty of time to prepare, and he would have a very good chance of catching Painuser with his tanks out of siege. Painuser is scouting with a factory, it looks like. Is that the... Oh! Painuser has switched to Tech Labs on the starport, and he's moving his factory elsewhere. Probably up on